Merry Christmas. Happy Friday. I am James, the retired banker. In previous episode report, we talked about this idea that you have to go to college, that we've been telling children they have to go to college and earn a degree to be able to get a good job. And there are a lot of people out there with ethnic studies degrees, gender studies degrees, fill in the blank studies degrees that can't get a job, that are $100,000 in debt, and they're working, making $17, $18, $20 an hour at jobs that they could have gotten without said degree, and they have all this debt. And the current administration wants people who didn't go to college to subsidize their not having to pay that debt by getting student debt relief. Well, folks, we're going to look at a job that's in high demand, that pays very well, and no college degree is required. So I was looking at the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg. The Wall Street Journal: economy's soft landing comes into view as job growth slowly descends. Hiring moderated from earlier this year in recent months, with November gains boosted by return of striking auto workers. So we're having a gradual cooling off of a still solid labor market, according to the Fed and the Wall Street Journal. But that doesn't do a lot of good if you want to get a good paying job. Well, here you go. Not going to string you along. Bloomberg: hottest job in U.S. pays $80,000 a year, no college degree needed. And they're talking about wind turbine technicians that are in high demand, even with all the recent cancellation of offshore projects. So we saw that there was, with the Green New Deal and which they're calling the Inflation Reduction Act, funny enough. But once again, folks, this is not a political channel. This is a business, economics, investment, and personal development and business development channel. But let's call the spade a spade. The Inflation Reduction Act has done nothing but do the exact opposite, which is often what we see when it comes to policies coming from DC. But one of the things that there has been a push for is green energy, and part of that is wind turbines, which have slowed down because there's a whole other aspect to the environment with damage to the ecosystem and to marine wildlife, where these wind turbines are being built and put in the middle of large bodies of water. But here we go. Bloomberg: for the fastest growing jobs in the U.S., working remotely is required, but those with a fear of heights need not apply. Employment of wind turbine service technicians will increase almost 50% over the next decade, the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts, faster than any other occupation bolstered by the federal government's renewable energy push. As makers and operators of wind farms expand training and hiring, in other words, you don't have to go to college, they will hire you and train you to do the job. I don't know if they can train you not to have a fear of heights, though. As makers and operators of wind farms expand training and hiring, experienced technicians can make about $80,000 a year without a college degree, though they must be willing to travel extensively, endure extreme weather, and lug 50 pounds of gear up long ladders to confined spaces. So not only should you not pursue this if you have a fear of heights, but if you're claustrophobic, that might be a problem too. That's our office. 300 feet in the air, says Omar Rubalcava, a 33-year-old service technician with Denmark's Vestas Wind Systems, the number one turbine maker. I was never scared of heights, but when you're 30 feet up, you get a reality check. He leads a 36-person team that maintains 129 turbines in California. There are times when it's windy, and it's like you're rocking on a boat. Except that boat is 300 feet up in the air. So for those of you that just want to know what this industry is, where you can maybe look at making $80,000 a year, It may be 100,000 a year or more coming very soon, given how inflation is, without a college degree, and you're willing to travel, willing to be in tight confined spaces, willing to literally weather all kinds of challenges while you're doing this job, and you're willing to travel, there's money to be made here. The article continues saying that job postings for wind turbine techs in the U.S. have risen sixfold since 2018, according to a data tracker, Revelio Labs, and recent industry difficulties haven't slowed the pace. The sector has been battered by soaring costs, higher interest rates, and supply chain bottlenecks, prompting delays and cancellations of offshore projects that could have employed thousands. That's not telling the entire story. There also have been lawsuits and pushback from environmental groups because marine wildlife and other ecosystem problems with putting a lot of these wind turbines in the ocean and in the seas around the world. That has also been a big factor in some of the slowdown. But there's more than enough demand for onshore installations, which make up the bulk of the $16.4 billion U.S. wind power market, for turbine companies to increase hiring at double-digit clip, and industry experts say offshore wind will ramp up again too. So let's take a look at the fastest growing jobs for those of you that didn't bail out early. Wind turbine service technicians, nurse practitioners, data scientists, statisticians, information security analysts, medical health services managers, epidemiologists, physician assistants, physical therapist assistants, and software developers. You'll notice nowhere on this list is there a demand for your social studies, liberal arts degrees. You want to have math, you want to have sciences, and you at least want to know computers and software development, and you want to be in healthcare. Again, wind turbine service technicians, though, leads all of them, with nurse practitioners coming in second. There you go, folks. If you don't want to go to college, you're going to need a college degree if you want to be a nurse and advance in nursing. Data scientists, obviously, you need to have a scientific degree, probably need to know statistics and other mathematical modeling. Statisticians, information security analysts, computer science, medical and health services managers, and then a PA. A PA is a great thing. As healthcare becomes more expensive, physician assistants it's a degree where you work under a doctor and do many things that doctors do. You look at it, you see patients, you can prescribe medication. This is all done under the license of, and someone who knows more about this can fact check me below, but I know I'm correct in the basics of this. A physician's assistant would be above a nurse, can run a medical office, but under the direction of someone with a medical license, an MD, or a medical doctor. And then you see physical therapist assistants there. So there you go, folks. Number one job, wind turbine service technicians. Make a lot of money without a college degree.